With people, we start for free as volunteers. There was a call from Ukraine. There is a team. I didn't know if you know that, but the Fourth Musketeer, a man's team, I will say it, and they ask all over the world, where is the brotherhood? Who can help us in Ukraine? And that is that we began to start with collect all these things, and we start a transport line. At first we go with trucks. They were given to some companies for free, and we start to go to a hub in Romania, nearby the border, Moldavia and Ukraine, and there we can load it to trucks from Ukraine, and they bring it further in. After 1 month, April 2022, we made a connection with the decision, and we start to transport into Ukraine, to Kyiv, to every place. Every month we go further and further. Oksana, she asked us to come and to see what happened in Irpin, in Bucha, to see and to ask what we can do there, to see with her own eyes what happened. And she asked to send people and to come and to help in Ukraine. Building, also to stand shoulder to shoulder with the people there. Since that time, every month we send people to Irpin and to Mykolaiv and to Moshun, groups from 10 till 25 persons. And what we do there is to demolish buildings whose construction is broken, to clean up houses, clean up playgrounds for the children, to rebuild houses and apartments. In the first year we built tiny houses. We help cooking, sharing food for refugees, take care of elderly people, widows and children. And today I see so many things in so much bigger. We do it in small groups, we do it small, but also it's growing. But most important is to be there. If we help to build up a roof or demolish walls, we do it with the people there and to connect them. That's so big. It's a big encouragement for them to be there, to listen, to speak with them, to give a hug. What we do is most that we connect by the church. The church in European also was a place to help. The government says, go to the church, they will help you. They can food you. And the church helped everyone, believers, unbelievers. But we do more. Let's hope for Ukraine. Every month we donate 4,000 loaves of bread. Also we bought it in Ukraine and delivered it in areas nearby the frontline zone. We sponsored the bakery for produce for refugees. Also let's give the economic there a boost. We organized to create food boxes. We see it today. They do it with many big traders. Also we may do it sometimes 4,000 boxes, 5,000. And we distribute it and hand it out with partners, also nearby the frontline zone. We organize and donate big generators. We transport them and we place them by hospitals and elderly care centers. We did it also the first year. And independently, or with other NGOs, we buy and transfer ambulances, fire trucks. We transfer them to medics and to emergency workers. And everything that we do will be registered to be accountable. One of our members, she ended her job in the Netherlands, and she lives now in European for us, and she managed many things. She lived there for 2 years. So we thank God for all the things we can do. Now the war is 2.5 years during, and the situation for the winter time is bad and very bad. Also, our colleagues said it, how bad the situation is about electricity. And electricity is a basic need in life. We know also, it's from our Ukrainian friends, and Jan also said it. So we start a new action, and we have a goal. And we said it is a serious goal, but today I saw some prizes of 20 million. We asked no 20 million. We ask 1 million. Also, we will collect 1 million for generators in Ukraine. And not only generators, but also battery systems. Also, we know there's a big need. We want to buy we will work step by step. We work also at first what they needed. Was the question from Ukraine. We can send many goods, we can send many things, but if there's no need, you bring it and you can unload it. It's still there. Also, our relation in UK asked us to organize and bring generators for winter time. The second step is we make a plan. We will work out this question, what is most needed. And what they ask is small generators for families. They ask a little bit bigger generators for multi-families. They can take it together. They ask power banks, power stations, and other battery systems for those living in apartments. And maybe bigger generators for centers. Implementation. We will buy the generators in the Netherlands, new products, and we will transport them to Ukraine in our network. Also registration. Our partners in Ukraine will register everything correctly. They choose the families with advice from the social services at the place who can receive a generator, but also we deliver them by our partners. And accountability. After that, they send their registration for accountability to Hope for Ukraine. And our experience about that is very good. Also, we see here a family. The father is in war. And they live without electricity. Also, we see some soldiers. Electricity is also the possibility to make contact with your family. And this family, their son, or the man of that woman, he's missed for 1 year. And you know, if you miss your people, and there is one possibility that he will make connect with your family, and you have no electricity, you cannot upload your phone. then is that the most thing that you need. Only for your phone, only for connecting. And after that, for light, for hot water, for heating systems. And that's what the first question was today. What can you do? What can we do? Donate and check the QR code on your badge. Start fundraising by your own. Ask your company to start an action. Tell people about the need of generators in Ukraine. And join us on one of our trips in 25. Also, at some places there lay little visit cards. You can take it, and you can also connect Hope Ukraine. I will thank you for inviting us.
Thank you very much, all three of you, for giving us an insight in the situation in Ukraine about electricity, and also a possibility to help to support Ukraine by sending generators to them, and also at larger scale with bigger energy systems. Thank you very much. Jan, we have now a little break.
The last one, but a little
Last one? Okay.
So thank you. Look, we have a little very short break. Let's just 5 minutes to take the last coffee today. And the next two panels will be dedicated to the investments, because we spoke about innovations, digitalization, energy, but now we are moving forward to the money and also to the trading and economics, logistics. Just a 5 minutes break, and you're welcome to take your seat.
23 years, and I'm continuing to do so. From the first venture capital fund I started back in 2001. So I look at our ecosystem from the perspective of 23 years before. However, in the summer 2014, when Russia invaded Ukraine, we started the association of all investors. Basically, Ukrainian Venture Capital Private Equity Association consists today of 56 members, the funds, private equity, venture capital, different alternative class instruments that continue to invest in the Ukrainian entrepreneurs. And it's very important because obviously investors are very pragmatic, and the reason why they continue to invest in Ukrainian entrepreneurs for the last 10 years, and more specifically for the last 2.5 years, is something to talk about it, right? So why investors are continuing to invest in Ukraine, why the deals are happening. So this is one. Secondly, because of the design of the Ukrainian technology ecosystem for the last 20 years, that Ukrainian entrepreneurs did not have internal grant systems, did not have internal support from the government, I can say that, and also did not have any institutional money involved. So basically what you see now, after 20 years, if you look at the statistic, you see the growing during the war IT sector. That's number one, because it has been always built in a resilience way. Yeah, majority of the revenues come still from the US markets. This is what I want to try to tell you. The only reason why we see each other here in Europe, because of the war, right? Because out of 6 million Ukrainians temporarily displaced to Europe, we have at least 50,000 IT specialists, we have dozens of the thousands and entrepreneurs, and of course we have our association based here in Brussels from the day one, because we've been the member of Invest Europe from 2014. So they know us for 10 years already, because in our association we have local members investors and also 1/3 of those international investors. So this is how internationally our association is based, and we are continue to co-invest with other investors. And we just had this conversation that one of our members, Horizon Capital, closed a deal with a French billionaire Javier, that happened just 2 days ago. It's 1.5 billion deals, but of course there are smaller ones. Now, this is what we have, and also I want to touch base when we started in the morning discussion on the so-called famous Draghi report on the European competitiveness. And I just need to repeat 3 things that have been emphasized in those report. One is the defense and dual use sector. For those who are not familiar, dual use is basically when technology can be used for the commercial application, but also can be used for the military use. And by the way, it's not only drones. Today, even media is a dual use, and many other sectors. Okay, just rethink about how you approach dual use. So this is one. It's not only defense. The other one was critical raw materials to get less dependency on China, and the Ukraine has it all, and our members also invest in that. So it's a co-investment opportunities. And the third one is my favorite in terms of the recognizing the entrepreneurs. Not innovation, but entrepreneurs and the startups are those who actually make the value creation. And by design, not only Ukrainians has been going to America, not only to sell, but have a liquidity and other instruments, but we also learn from that report that not only French or the German, but European entrepreneurs are actually, many of them actually doing the same path, trying to go to America and get the other benefits coming from the American market. So in this standpoint, from this standpoint, Ukrainian entrepreneurs and the European ones are pretty much have the same challenges, but Ukrainian had the more bigger challenges because we didn't have a grant ecosystem, we didn't have institutional investors that come in or backing up our funds. However, after 2.5 years, today we have a Ukraine facility program under the European Commission, and for the first time, 2 weeks ago, they opened the call not only for the loans, credits, and the blended finance products, but also for the private equity. And we are very proud of, because in reality, we appreciate that support and investment from international community. But if you look very straightforward, how you can deploy capital in Ukraine from Brussels, London, or Washington, D.C. for that matter? Impossible. Because if you want to deploy capital to SMEs, small and medium enterprises, you need to do this through the means, and we have 56 members, 300 funds investment for the last 10 years. This is the people that have proximity and the skill set and teams on the ground that can deploy capital and then take the risk. Private sector today takes the risk, and unfortunately, international financial organization and the development funds not much taking the risk yet. And this is the reason why we introduced to them the special vehicle, which is called Ukrainian Fund of Funds. They're going to invest in the other funds, and as I said, currently we have 25 funds they're currently raising. That means, and one of our members was successful to raise 350 million from all IFIs and DFIs, but now we need to expand that to 25 funds they're currently raising, because there are the means, operational-wise, to invest in Ukrainian entrepreneurs today for profit, but also for the impact. Because Ukrainian entrepreneurs solving problems, right? In energy, water, agri, healthcare, I can go on. It's not just those who are doing some unknown software products or the website. No, no. Ukrainian entrepreneurs are tackling problems, right? The drones can be used for the military, but drones are used in Ukraine. How to do demining, right? Big one. How to do the other things, harvesting, how to save lives of the farmers that go to the fields for the harvesting, right? So it's a very impact, security and safety-driven applications. So don't be scared when I say defense, because it's all about the security and safety. And also, I'm finishing how to look at the Ukraine and the cooperation with the Ukrainian entrepreneurs as we speak, also to empower the Ukrainian competitiveness landscape. This is what I would suggest for our discussion, and let's start.
The one thing I would like to ask you, keep please microphone closer to make people, you know, to attract more attention to our discussion. So I would like to start maybe from Frederick, because he can not just discuss but present some opportunities, and that's very important, and that's the reason why we are here. We are speaking about partnerships, and that's a good reason to start. Panel, please.
Maybe I should start by mentioning a figure, 95.5 billion, and that is the budget of Horizon Europe, the EU's flagship research and innovation program, which runs from 2021 until 2027, which Ukraine has full access to, on par with member states of the EU and other countries associated to Horizon Europe. And Ukraine has the additional benefit of their access to Horizon Europe in that they are not under the same pay-as-you-go model as other associated countries, meaning that the EU subsidizes all participation of Ukraine into the program, and it's theoretically billions of euros available for Ukrainian researchers, but also, most importantly for today, innovators. Let me talk a little bit about what is in this program. And I think one of the things that have been mentioned many times today is probably the EIC, the European Innovation Council. I know that you had the president of the board here earlier today, and you mentioned the Draghi report now, where the EIC plays a quite big part, where Draghi at least suggests to double the funding for the EIC, showing how important this instrument is. Let me bring up my cheat sheet quickly here so I know what I'm saying. Let me just say that Horizon Europe is a quite large program and has many kind of facets, and it can be difficult to kind of reorientate you inside of it. And there is also help for that, but I will get to that soon. The European Innovation Council, as it stands right now, has a budget of 10 billion euros, targeting innovation actions. SMEs that at any stage of their life cycle, even a natural person who seeks to start an innovation, or an enterprise, up until the scale up of small and medium-sized enterprises. And they offer both grants in the range of 2 to 3 million euros. They offer business advisory services to help you expand into new markets. And they also, crucially, and as a novelty of Horizon Europe, offer equity. But beyond that, we have also under the EIC ring-fenced a specific amount for Ukrainian deep tech startups, which we call EIC for Ukraine, which is implemented by a group of partners located in Europe who offers grants of the size of 60,000 euros for seed capital for any kind of disruptive new innovations in Ukraine. On top of that, they offer also business advisory services to help Ukrainian enterprises access the European innovation ecosystems as well, and to expand into European markets. So there is a sustainability in their models. This is the IC, and this is you probably heard about already today, and the specific support measure. Now, I also want to advertise a little bit what we call the second pillar of Horizon Europe, which is the bulk of the money. 50 billion euros goes into this second pillar. It's the biggest part of the program. It has 6 thematic areas under it. It ranges from health to industry to environmental science, mobility, anything is under there. And here we fund research activities, but also innovation activities, usually for consortia of 3 partners across Europe, one of which could be a Ukrainian partner. Now, those who know Horizon Europe knows that it's extremely competitive, and we put a high emphasis on what we call excellence in our proposals. And it's competitive funding in research innovation, which is not necessarily a common phenomenon in Ukraine in of itself. So, and now today, because much of the funding for innovation activities and research activities in Ukraine has dried up because of the war, this funding has become more crucial. Therefore, we have set out specific support measures to boost and support Ukrainian participation in the program. And if there's anything you're going to take away from today, it is our Horizon Europe office in Ukraine. The Horizon Europe office in Ukraine, you can go on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, to follow them. And they, first of all, offer dissemination activities, but they also offer advice for your applications into Horizon Europe, and matchmaking activities as well. So if you're a Ukrainian partner in Ukraine, you can get in touch with this office. They can tell you what activities are there for you to apply to, what is relevant to you, and they can help you throughout the whole process of finding a partner and drafting an application. So if there's anything you're going to take away from that, this is our flagship support measure for Ukraine, and it will help you access these 50 billion euros available in funding today. That is what I have to say today about what on the side of Horizon Europe is available from the European Commission side. Of course, there's many other support measures from all different parts of the European Commission that are available to Ukraine as well. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, if you like how how the money smells like, you can take a seat closer to our panel to hear better what we are speaking about. So the next, I would like to ask Artur. So how do you think our Ukrainian startups are well suited to meet European corporates' needs and scale their solutions to them? Please.
Thank you. So first of all, I'll present France Digital. So as you may understand, I'm French, and France Digital is a leading European organization for startup and investors and incubators. Basically, our role is to gather this ecosystem and we try also to study what form a good ecosystem, a healthy ecosystem. So as my co-panelist said already, you need investment, you need money, and but first, the best money might come from your clients. So you need contracts, and for that you need also to make sure corporates know how to deal with startups. It's not the same timeline, it's not the same objective, and we really need to adjust expectation on both sides on how to work with corporates. Secondly, you need an investor to help you scale, to help you grow, and to help you get into new markets. And for that, in Europe, there is a growing ecosystem with investors, with different type of investor from early stage, of course, but also to grow. And we have a great help from European Commission, and as France Digital, for example, we are part of the EIC because to help these companies to access to that type of program. And third, you need a sum of tools that will help startup and entrepreneurs to grow. It starts with peer-to-peer connections. Then it'll help you to understand the legal frame and help you catch opportunities. And third, to also understand what are the breakthrough technology coming in and how we can play with that. So speaking of that, what we figured in Europe is that there is really a need to transform Europe and to transform Europe through its digitalization. And to do so, we need to help corporate companies, the leaders, big sisters, big brothers, that are driving the growth of the economy at the moment. But for example, in France, we've been creating this ecosystem for a bit more than 10 years, and right now, startups represent 1 million employees. So the startup could take a great part about the economy. And what we've seen coming from from France is like there is a big envy for entrepreneurs first, and then corporates to work with a European startup and Ukrainian startup, because and which I'm about to say is a kind of particular, but there is a strive for innovation on when there is a kind of crisis landscape or post-crisis landscape, and the whole Europe is looking at you and how you can how you have been thriving in that moment, and how basically the other part of Europe can also gain positiveness and a vision out of that. What would be the future of democracy? What would be the future of Europe? And you played a large role on that. So I would highly recommend that you knock first to European programs that can address you to different various markets. And then if you at some point want to access the French market, you're more than welcome. And actually with entrepreneurs, and Arnaud will talk about it, but we partner also with Tech Europe, Tech Ukraine, sorry, in order to link entrepreneurs, investors, and to thrive globally and the economy, and to play a role as a European market in a global competition. And secondly, there is also really a need for European market to get more unionized, and to do so, we really want to work all together to create a legal framework that will help French entrepreneurs also to access to the Ukrainian markets. And then on the other side, there are a lot of names of successful startups, Ukrainian startups that have conquered the world or Europe. Grammarly first, then we have soft-serve systems. It's an AI recognition company, and many others in security, as you said, and on agriculture, housing, etc. And in France, we are transforming the economy, and we need this solution. So if you have an interest in the French market, if you want to get keys about the European markets and how to access investor and how to basically settle a company through various incubators, don't hesitate to come to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you get into this specific market. Thank you very much.
I just want to say that France is open for business, right? And Ukraine as well.
Arnaud, I know that you're already working with Ukrainian market and you're visiting Ukraine. Thank you for your brave, by the way. Unfortunately, I didn't meet you at Lviv IT Arena recently, but I meet you in Brussels. That's also good. Please speak about your experience, what you already have done with Ukrainian startups, and you're maybe at the beginning of your way, but not from the very beginning. So you can share your example and maybe inspire others to follow it, please.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. Дуже дякую. Yeah, so me, I'm Arnaud, I'm French, living in Luxembourg, but mostly I'm trying to advocate Ukraine for many years and tech ecosystem from Ukraine. So I'm ambassador of Tech Ukraine to Luxembourg and mostly in French countries. So I had the chance to be in Paris in this France Digital Day, what was very good. So yeah, and I had the chance as well to be in Lviv IT Arena last week, which was also very, very amazing. So me, I'm more advocating for the Ukrainian tech ecosystem and startup. and I'm trying to build some connections and collaboration between the Europe and Ukraine projects. So what I can say is that before the war, the Ukraine for me was one of the best kept secrets in Europe, because a lot of people didn't know that Ukraine is so brave, so innovative, so creative. So now I would say that it's again the best kept secret, because I was in the Lviv arena and still a lot of people are not coming to Ukraine, and the people I met there, investors and so on, were very amazed by the quality of the technology that Ukraine is providing, the quality of the startups. So now Ukraine is building for me some excellence in GovTech, because with the World Economic Forum, they build a center which is one of the two in the world regarding the GovTech and e-democracy and e-governance, but also in the defense tech and cybersecurity, we see a lot of traction there. So yeah, so then what I'm really recommend is to try to find more collaborations and venture projects. We saw already some interesting Ukrainian tech. We built it with Europe as Ajax, which is one of the tech leader in alarms, or we saw with Delfast, which is e-bike. We did it with, I think, Dutch government. So we had some FA, which is doing some brush with Lufthansa and so on. So we want more like this. And also, what I was the speaker as well at IT Arena, and my advocacy was to announce or to try to do something which is very common for Europeans, which is Euroregion. I come from Luxembourg, so it's very normal to cross the border, to do some cross projects, to receive some Interreg funding and so on. So I was trying to develop this idea of Carpathian Euroregion with some region from Slovakia, from Poland, and from Romania, and how we can work all together. So yeah, so that's mostly what I can say. So I think the Ukrainians are really proving the world that they're really delivering something amazing, and I think there is a lot of people who are eager to even collaborate with Ukraine. Yeah, and the last thing is, like, I received already 2 startup or tech company in Europe who ask me how to connect with Ukraine, because they want their product to be used there in order to have the stamp of Ukraine in cybersecurity or in cloud that shows that this product is very, I would say, war-proof or whatever, so give some more value to their own project. So.
Thank you, and special thanks for proving the concept I shared, that as UNation, as I think some other companies will invite to track global technologies to recover Ukraine and to test their innovative solutions on our market in our country. And together we will build modern state. So, Thibaut, as far as I have learned, you know, priority verticals where you're investing, and it's protection tech, cybersecurity, dual technologies, etc. What do you think? How they fit to their interests and to Ukraine here? We already discussed different ways of collaborations, partnerships, from grants to investments to attracting European technologies to Ukraine. Maybe you can prioritize. Make a priority what is more interest for yourself, for your company, for your fund, and you're welcome to speak.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me? Yeah. Yeah. In fact, when we started the fund less than 10 months ago, we focused only on Benelux, France, and Germany. And then after a few months, we thought, yeah, it's maybe a little bit stupid not to go more on the east. Because as we saw in Israel, they really developed cybersecurity and defense tech. We don't invest in defense tech, but more on dual use. And then the board of the fund said, okay, go east. And then since then, we have met multiple companies in Ukraine, even in Eastern Europe, but really in Ukraine. And sometimes they were interested to look at them, but we have like some difficulties, and I will explain them. And it's something maybe you can think about how we can, as European, invest in Ukraine, because it's not so easy, in fact. First, because it's out of EU, it's not easy to have like funds going from Belgium to EU. Then we need most of the time them to come in the EU, in the real EU. Sorry to say that, but second one, the big advantage that Ukrainian companies have is that they can test immediately the product, and it's something that we have as a problem as American or European companies, that you try something in the defense or dual use tech, and you say, okay, it will be tested in months or years from now. The advantage is that Ukrainian, they can test it the day after, which is a big advantage. Disadvantage of that is that they tell me, yeah, it works. Okay, but how can I know that it really works when you need to make a due diligence? Because it's not because you tell me my drones fly faster than the other, or it's more precise or more accurate than the other, that I will say, okay, I write you a check of 200K and do it. And then it's another problem that we face today. And I speak about problems, but it's to find solution afterwards, even though I don't have the solution yet, is, okay, how can we have like better due diligence being in Belgium to look at these Ukrainian startups? Because I have met multiple one, which I said, interesting. For example, one in the camera sector. They were cheaper, they were apparently better, but it was, yeah, okay, but how can we make the due diligence to show it? Because they needed to send it to us, etc. Then it was sometimes difficult. But to sum it up, it's really like we see more innovation there because they have a real need. You know, we have the chance in Belgium, in France, Luxembourg, etc. War is far from us. And then we don't feel the same needs as Ukrainians being like invaded by Russians and needing to defend themselves. Then the big unfortunate advantage that they have. But how can we like gap or bridge the gap is something that we are looking for today, because we don't have like the legal solution to do it. And it's really like something that I don't know if it's EU or something else, or how the PE Association of Ukraine can help to have something on this.
We can help right now. Two things. Thank you about the problems, because the problems create solutions, and of course this is a problem. This is why we exist. This is why we continue to invest. To your point, the history of humankind shows to us, or proves to us, that all innovation happens during the war and the conflicts. This is one. Secondly, it just came out to me. I was last week at the tech tour, which is organized by the Belgian investor William, and the people said on the panel one sentence which actually echoed to the whole conference, and I tell you what it is. If your product or service, not you, I'm talking about all the security spectrum, not only defense, everything related to safety and security. If your product or service is not used in action or on the front line in Ukraine, you will not be able to sell it globally. So you know what it means? It means that Ukraine is not only, a test bed for the innovation, it's a proof, right? It's a proof that your product is used not in the lab, but actually in the real time. This is why all international community, all international investors and entrepreneurs come into Ukraine for that reason. Okay, so let's be very straightforward. It's because of competitions. And now, in terms of how to operate in Ukraine, right? Especially if you are far, you cannot make due diligence. Look, this is how we built the industry for the last 20 years with Americans, because they also did not go to Ukraine back then. This is why the VI Association of 56 members that on the ground invest in Ukraine and invite to co-invest other ones, okay, on the premises when the due diligence already been done. This is how we build the industry on co-investment basis, and this week how we continue to do this for the sake of other investors, because you need to have someone who understands better, or probably better than you, right? This is good experience or in some verticals, and then he invites you to invest in syndicates. So this is the other way how we actually help, but actually the best help to Ukraine to co-invest, and we mean it because we have a pipeline, right? And the third one, just to give you the example, a week ago, we had a conference on the defense investments. Guess how many people, entrepreneurs and investors show up? Just guess. And I tell you the exact number, more than 1,500 people. which out of those 100 investors, and many of those came from abroad, to actually touch and feel, to see people to actually create things. 1,500 investors conference for the defense and dual use. This is how big it is. Okay, I'm just showing you the numbers, and for those who missed that one, in the next week we're going to have an Invest in Bravery event together with our partners from the Czech Republic. We've done one in Prague, and now they purposely want to do the event in Kyiv. Okay, because obviously there are restrictions on the Ukrainian entrepreneurs and martial law to come to the Europe. They are there. It's one of the problems, yes, we still have. But those who want to invest through the Zoom or even physically going there, come to us because we are the investment platform. We are the association, those who invest in Ukraine, have a pipeline and would be happy to share with everyone that wants to do this. So this is how it works in the Ukrainian case.
So there is another thing I would like to say, because we talk about a lot about solutions, but there is one last thing about innovation, is the talents, tech talents. And what we figure in France, OpenAI just opened an office in Paris, just because they want to get to the tech talent. And what we see from France is a lot of companies also are thinking about settling in Ukraine, because there is a thrive also in the quality of the training of this and these people. And when we talk about entrepreneurship, it needs also qualities and soft skills and a specific mindset. And what we at some point, like 4 years ago, we were quite afraid of a lot of people from Ukraine coming to Europe, meaning France or England, for example, to settle there. But thankfully, a lot went back there with other let's say, competencies, and that make it even more attractive for investors, for corporates, and for entrepreneurs to get into the Ukrainian market. And lastly, this also possible through ecosystem, and we need to talk about incubators. And they're at the beginning of that, and through the job you're doing with UNation, it's also amazing, because that allow a new generation of entrepreneurs coming in, and hopefully for the good.
Merci beaucoup. Really, we fight it for the implementation of this first small step, but as I say, that was small step for humanity, but a very big step for the development of innovations in the Odessa region and southern regions also, because we have some startups from Mykolaiv, etc. And by the way, absolutely agree with Andrew, because, for example, in October we meeting 6 foreign guests from Germany, UK, and Austria, who have a brave to visit Odessa during the war, because really they are interested to invest or to find some partnerships, and that's great, really. And we were often meeting some delegations. Of course, there were some, not always it works, but you can prove your intentions, and we always are welcome to meet you. Frederick, would you like to add something more about opportunities and partnerships? Maybe how we can, so we will have networking after our panel discussions today, and maybe we can start discussions together to unite some NGOs, some organizations, companies, to unite together our efforts here to apply for any kind of programs. And what are your suggestions? What deadlines we have? Maybe some insiders information, what we need to prepare for the programs in the next year, etc. Everything could be helpful for us. Do you have a very big question? Yeah, but we have not a lot of time. Maybe top 3 tips from you, or
Europe has really stepped up after the war began and provided more opportunities for Ukraine, and there's been a huge push by people like the panel right here to engage more with Ukraine and get more people involved with Ukraine. And that's also true on the more political institutional level on our side. That's why, for example, we made participation in Horizon Europe free, so Ukraine could continue to participate there. And it's not only Horizon Europe, as I said, it's many other programs within the EU. And this means that Ukraine is already on the path towards joining the Union. They are already able to access, with EU money, opportunities to collaborate with European partners, right? So right now, already today, we're building a network with Ukraine, with partners who have never ever imagined doing this with Ukraine and discovering kind of the best kept secret in Europe, which sets the stage for the future multi-annual financial program here in the EU and what we do in the future, because there's so much to exploit from what we are doing today in the future once reconstruction really begins. And when we talk about innovation, and also for my part, who also work on research, I think it's important that for now you're talking about we bring innovation into kind of this dual-use military application area, but we should also think about how can it play a role in Ukraine's reconstruction to ensure that Ukraine has a long-term future ahead of it that is competitive to its dangerous neighbor and competitive enough to also be a part of the EU, because if Ukraine was to join the European market today, it would collapse the economy, right? Ukraine needs to be competitive. And we need to realize this now as well and address this in our future programs and our future policies to ensure that Ukraine is up to speed and we're fully integrated with each other. So it's a huge task. I'm not answering your question directly, but I think this is kind of the stage we have to set. We have to realize the potential of innovation and research and the good it can do for Ukraine also on its path towards the Union and future independence.
Thank you. Alla Savchenko, BDO Ukraine. I want investment community maybe now about this. It's not news. And for us, I have information about biggest biggest investment in Ukraine in what time? Because in this week, fund of state fund of Ukraine finished auction with 100%. This is United Mining and Chemical Company. Price huge, about 4 billion grivna. Sorry about grivna, and this is very, very unusual. Believe in Ukraine, invest in Ukraine. This is maybe possible success. And for people who want working in Ukraine, BDO Ukraine prepare practical recommendation. This is guide, and we are refresh every week. I put information to LinkedIn of this conference. This is information. And question to Andrei. In my understanding, now, especially after the victory, Ukraine have very big potential for military tech. What is your opinion about this? Because for a long year, European Union, all world will be afraid and need something to safety.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, there is a new defense and security strategy of Europe. This is number one. Secondly, last week in the Tallinn, we had a meeting with Prime Minister who announced 100 million euros defense fund. And he was talking to us, to the Ukrainian entrepreneurs, to actually build things. Perfect. I'm glad you're working for Estonian government as well. Work for the European Commission as well. I'm just showing you that Estonia doesn't wait for the future, because Estonia is the next border. This is why they put in not only 4% of their GDP, which is where Belgium put 1% of their GDP for the security, but also they found the way how to do this with the Ukrainian entrepreneurs and the Estonian ecosystem and also with the 100 million fund they created, okay? So this is very important because it shows you that Estonia was already started, and I believe the other countries, hopefully Belgium as well, and will look at the Ukrainian entrepreneurs as a way to change the consumption market. I just give you one figure, you will be amazed. You know how much European defense industry is buying from the Europe, and what's the percentage outside? Okay, it's 80-20, meaning only 20 in the Europe and 80 from the other markets. So this is in terms of potential of the European market. Forget about the decreasing and the security defense, it's already happening, right? But also it contributes to the Ukrainian entrepreneurs and enterprises, which today we need to solve the issue, which you mentioned legally wise, because unfortunately many the defense-focused European investors like NATO Innovation Fund cannot invest in Ukrainian legally, right? But this is why the Ukrainian entrepreneurs trying to build the factories in Slovakia and Estonia, or the Belgium for that matter, in order to change this legal perception, right? But in reality, we understand that we can bring the pipeline, which actually contributes to this, but we need to create the special programs for the dual use in defense, which is going to be like Estonians did on pan-European level, and then we will build something in Europe faster in order to send back to Ukraine on bilateral, because obviously in order to get the access to procurement programs, right? So we need to do, joint ventures in the Europe in order the national budgets will actually consume that goods and send them on the front line to the Ukraine under bilateral agreements. So this is how crucial it is now in order to do the joint venture, in order to get our soldiers ammunition from the European markets. So this is one. And second one, out of necessity, Ukrainians IT industry switched to build the drones because were allowed to hit or make the Russians busy on their territory, right? So we have more than 300 drone producers, but we still don't have a single European drone cluster as we speak. That's the reality. European Commission love the clusters, economic clusters, but there is not yet the drone ones. And this is what we are actually urgently asking for the partners in the European Union to create the drone cluster, number one, in order to build all the components in the Europe. And then you're going to close this from the China because it's a security. If the Chinese or American wants to do this or sell it to European market, then they need to be domiciled and get their factories here in the Europe. We're not there yet, but we need to actually to protect the Europe, and Ukrainian enterprises and entrepreneurs can actually build this drone cluster for the sake of the Europe. I'm talking both, the hardware, software, everything with AI for that matter, in order to protect the Europe and also to consume from the internal markets and also to close the market. I understand you cannot go to China in the war and the consumer electronics. I get it. But you can close your market for this dual use and defense and provide your own rules, because European Commission is good by providing regulation the rules. So this is what you're best of. So then you're going to provide that rules in order to every components to be built in the 27 member states plus Ukraine. This is what we think as an opportunity, not after the reconstruction, but actually now, because this is it's a priority of also the European Commission. And once again, it's defense. But once again, I just give you a simple example, and you can Google it. Guess how Silicon Valley was built from? It started in 50s from the defense sector, and then they tried to use the same technologies for commercial use. Your phone is dual use. GPS there came from the military sector. So, and now everything is a dual use, as we mentioned, right? It's not only, it's all coming to food security, environmental security, energy security, even the mental health, for the God's sake, is already also dual use, because the psychological technologies can be used offensive and defensive, right? So this is how big the ecosystem is, and in order to protect the Europe and to become competitively strong, now we're talking about the dual use and defense sector, and the entrepreneurs are those who are doing the value creation. There, and even investors, we are helping entrepreneurs to succeed, meaning we are servicing them because they're doing the value creation. We're just helping them to succeed. Think about that, and hopefully the Europe realize they need to keep entrepreneurs in Europe and also to use more than million Ukrainian entrepreneurs that are trying to survive, trying to create value creation, also sell to the European market, or do the joint venture with European businesses. This is how we can do this, and by the way, we're already doing it, not only in Ukraine. Of course, I compliment what the Jan is doing in Odessa Oblast, but also we have a technology dual accelerator here in Brussels. Here's a Jerome who runs the 7 campus dual use accelerator here in Brussels. So you will actually, don't go to Ukraine, come to the Brussels, talk to us, and then we're gonna have a joint deals and joint venture together with you in Ukraine and in Europe for our own safety. Thank you so much. Let's do deals. Thank you.
And I have a fun fact. Is like in Europe, in the startup ecosystem, we try to make emerge every year one specific industry. So 2 years ago, it was industry and manufacturing because corporates don't have enough solutions. This year, because of Olympics Games, it was sports, and next year is defense. So you see how late we are compared to you, and how Ukrainian startup ecosystem is thriving in some specific elements. But this is clearly something where you're leading far from all the other markets. So, congrats.
Thank you.
So that's a good sign that our discussion became hot and we already have questions. So let's move forward with the questions from the audience. And please.
I'd like to double click on the previous question. And is Ukraine a good country for defense development? I've been talking to a lot of drone startups in Ukraine, and you see they're innovating at lightning speed with development cycles of 8 weeks. And like 2 weeks ago, I was in Baltimore, and I talked to senior managers of RTX from Raytheon, the Department of Defense, and they just can't keep up. So yes, it's going at lightning speed in Ukraine. My question for the panel is, my experience with venture capitalist firms is they're investing broadly in tech and but never in defense. That was limited to just a few specific VC funds. Is that changing now?
Well, yeah, actually, historically, all our members has been investing in the cybersecurity. That was historically. But now we have 5 members that only doing defense verticals, of course with the dual use applications, but they not afraid to do the dual use. We have already 5 members that particularly doing the kind of defense and et cetera, et cetera. I'm talking about our members. But however, I mentioned the conference last week on defense investments. We had 100 investors, local and international one, that are interested in defense startups in defense applications. Sometimes it's very hard to make the kind of line between it's pure defense or it's a defense and the commercialization, because as I said, you start with the defense, but then you're trying to even tackle the public safety markets, right? Because we need to protect the building behind me, right? Not from the farmers, but for those who will send things, right? Small ones, very small ones. Okay, so this is how the public safety is also the big public market, which is not perceived to be the defense. It's a public safety market, which is also the application for many of those. So we see the shift from our funds. However, I need to say that it's changing on the European level, but the biggest problem we have toward that is a perception of the investors in such a funds, right? I'm glad the EAF launched the separate fund of funds to invest in dual-use startups, but if you talk to any investors here, he'll say, you will hear this ESG mantra, and when you need to change it, but security of agriculture, environmental, sustainable development, what about that? Does it mean it's not ESG or not? So unfortunately, they have a legal constraints to invest in the funds. They may do some defense, may have defense clients, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot still to be done, especially on the investor stage, in order to back them up and put this old legacy and the red tape on investing in such a funds. Unfortunately, it still exists, and this is why we have a hard time to raise capital for. Everybody understand what we do, but they say, unfortunately, today we cannot. Just go somewhere, go to European Commission, maybe they will give you something or whatever, or go to the defense ministry. So by the way, some of them have budgets, not only American defense ministries that pump in money now to Silicon Valley-based funds, and then they come into Kyiv. This is what we see. We see many American funds just raising from the Ministry of Defense, literally, right? So probably the budgets for Ministry of Defenses in the Europe on the national basis could be the solution now, because otherwise we're going to waste time, and we don't have the time anymore. And I'm just showing to you what the other the ministries are doing in other countries by actually to get access to the startups, to get access to those who can invest in Ukraine. This is why the funds exist, because they take the money and they put all money to, and they invest, they operational, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for this question, because this is other problem we need to change towards the perception and also pump the money. Don't help Ukrainian ones. Help the fundraise European ones, get the money, and they're going to co-invest with us. So just serve your interest as well.
And I wanted to say as well that there is a report of Data Driven, which is a small Ukrainian consulting company in Paris, and they have a very nice report on all the defense tech, so you can have access to who is investing, where, and what are the companies, the drones, and so on. It's a very interesting report for people who like defense tech. So.
Yeah, then regarding the fact that can or may we invest in defense tech or not, for example, FNX Ventures come from FN Browning, which is a ammunition and a weapons manufacturer. Then even for us, it has been difficult to say that we will invest in defense. Then we invest only in protection tech, but never in offensive solutions. Then, for example, and the day we created the fund, it was with a bank, I won't name the bank, but it was nearby impossible for us to create the bank account. And FN Browning is a 1 billion revenue company, really well known, but even for us it was really difficult. Then to have VC fund investing in purely defense/offensive companies, it will be nearby impossible in Europe. You will have few ones, but it's more like the real defense and not defense that is offensive. Then I think it's what you will have. Then to have tomorrow someone investing in the new missile or something like that, it will be really difficult, I guess.
Thank you. We have a time for the last question. Okay.
Thanks so much for all your comments today. It was really, really enlightening. I kind of have a question, though, about how we get the European venture capital system generally, and also that of Ukraine, to the next level. Meaning, it's really easy to raise seed capital or early stage capital, maybe even Series A. But once you get to Series B, it gets a lot tougher. There just aren't that many VC funds in Europe. And so how do you get around this problem, and how do you stimulate the development of a larger VC system in Europe? So the last time I looked up these statistics, something like 50% of venture capital goes to the US, 10% goes to Europe, 25 to 30% goes to China. So Europe has tremendous potential in these industries, defense being one, but there's not a lot of follow-on capital to take it to the next level. So what would be your answer to this problem?
Well, that problem is known in Europe, right? Especially in Europe. But recently, I believe that was a scale-up fund that has been launched. So this is one. Secondly, in Ukraine, we don't have basically scale-up funding as well. This is why we've been also going to the US to address the market, but also to raise on the follow-on rounds. I would say if you look at this problem a bit differently, and the European market is big enough to do innovation here, okay? And I just mentioned the drone clusters is one of those. I'm not saying that you need to close the markets, but when it comes to the GovTech, when it comes to the other industries, that even Americans are closing the industry for European ones, not only for Ukrainians. I'm talking about space, for defense, try to do the business there, okay? It's impossible. This is why for the critical industries to address, right, you need to look at the European market differently wise, especially on AI, because otherwise you will not be compatible globally if you will not create things for the local markets. And that means, I understand that but also in the Europe, for that matter, there are a number of the buyout funds or the late stage funds. And by the way, it's the other problem we have now on the global fundraising market. The majority of the capital goes for the secondary funds or for the buyout funds, meaning this is the funds that, not the seed funds, not the even Series A funds. And this is other problem because nobody wants to take the risk, right? And to be honest, even the EIC program is with the 10 billion. It's a very big program for the Europe for deep tech. Try to get the funding from the deep tech startups in the Silicon Valley on the grants level. That doesn't exist. So you have it all on early stage and innovation. The question is how to not only find the growth capital, to your point, but the biggest problem what we all have is actually how to get liquidity, right? Because the biggest problem in Europe of the corporates rarely buying the startups, okay? I mean, not rarely in comparison with the Google, Facebook, Amazon, they buy them every day in order to keep up. And all other Fortune 500 companies, they have a culture of acquiring. And I believe that dual use and defense, it's a ways also how to get the liquidity, how to get money to that startups, and also the European defense companies or the big concerns, right? They will be those who will actually, like Airbus or the other ones, they will be the ones who will be actually buying the startups. And this is how we're going to create the liquidity. I'm not going to go to the public stock exchanges, right? That's another one. But I'm just going to the trade sale or the even public companies buying the local startup ecosystem. Of course, it's a bigger problems, but it's not only late stage capital. Believe me, it's available because even from American shops, KKR, Blackstone, BlackRock, all of them have operations in the Europe. So it's not about the existence of the capital. The biggest problem we have for the startups is less small liquidity market for the investors to exit. Okay, so this is the other problems, but that relates to the Draghi report, but I'm not going to go there. So we need to change. We need to let entrepreneurs do the things in the Europe, and probably also to be competitive on the African and Asian markets as well, and also to be competitive on American ones. That's the only way. But for that, that's a longer discussion. Let's get the Mr. Draghi in, and let's try to solve it on the hackathon, hopefully with the European Commission as well.
As you said, there is many aspects of it, and I would say there is four main pillars of it. First, there is a will from public sectors to basically throw money onto that specific risky kind of economy. There is a need also from administration and European administration to really think twice when they invest, and they're looking to invest in growth fund. So exactly where you said. But the issue is like recently they invest into Atomico. It's not really European, but wasn't the best move, but it was needed anyway. We need a frame that allow capital market unions. So that's another issue, and that's a political one. Third would be private investment facilities, easier way of doing it. In France, we have a big issue with taxes, and so it's not enough money to then inject into the economy. And third is also a matter of generation. In the US, they have, let's say, generation in advance to Europe, meaning that Microsoft, Apple, etc., were created dozens of years ago, where our ecosystem structured 10 to 15 years ago. So there is a new generation of great entrepreneurs that made exit, that are ready to invest. But we're lacking one generation of it. And the last solution, of course, is corporates. They need to take risk, but we need to give them also, on a legal frame, ability to take risk and to go into other European markets.
And now you have the two generations of Ukrainian entrepreneurs. Okay, so now we can solve it.
Great. So the time is over. Thank you very much for so active, energetic panel discussion. I hope the next time we will share the first results we spoke about. And guys, thank you again. Let's make a picture. Stand up. Picture for a deal. Okay, and then I am inviting Andrei Peeling. He will represent the last panel discussion before networking session dedicated to trading and logistics. Stage.
Ja, ich habe schon meinen Namen gelesen. Das ist and you have Victor will? You will?
Yes.
Can you call him? Victor? Yeah, great. Yeah, please take a seat.
Wo sitzt du denn?
Ich sitze hier. Ja. Lady in the middle.
I will sit or stay.
Victor, too. Yeah. Please take a seat. Yeah. Take a seat. Yeah. Super. So, dear guests, last but not least, I know the day is long and we all have a Friday afternoon, but I think we will make our last panel also very efficient and very quick, because then we have the networking reception and the time to exchange further on. So first of all, I would like to introduce to you our speakers. We have Manfred Schäffler. Manfred is also in the board of the European Ukrainian Bridge. He's been working a long time in retail, and he has a close connection to the retailers that also gives the donations, the in-kind donation, to our NGO. We have with us Andrei Krigan. Andrei is coming from Moldova. Thank you for joining our panel today. And he's the president of the Romanian Moldovan Chamber of Commerce and Industry. He will also tell us which possibilities Ukraine has in the trade network, maybe with the hubs in Moldova. And we have with us Victor. Victor brought the lovely food from Germany, the Ukraine homemade vareniki and peymeniki. And this is a very innovative concept. He will tell you also what is possible in the German market. And last but not least, Ivana Heruk. Ivana is representing Drakenberg company, and that is a good case study also for innovations in trade that are possible to be marketed in the European Union. Maybe we start with Ivana, that you present your company a little bit, tell us what you brought, and where are you producing?
Hello, dear audience. Hello, dear organizers. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving an opportunity to take part in such a private event here in Brussels. And first of all, I would like to show the presentation. presentation about our company, and then I will continue present. My name is Ivanna. I represent Drakenberg company. It is a German-Ukrainian company which specializes on the production and supply car care products and car chemicals products. The location of manufacture is in Ukraine, in Western Ukraine, Khmelnytsky city. And the headquarters of the company is in Düsseldorf. We use only European raw materials. Mostly it is BASF from Belgium and Germany. The product range is divided in 3 trademarks. The first third are from car chemical sphere, and the third is professional cleaning line. So we have 2 car chemical trademarks. It is Wagen and 2020 Polychrome, and professional cleaning line is represented with 2020 Polyclean trademark. We try to expand and develop Ukrainian economy. We give people jobs, places, and we pay taxes. And today we would like to ask you for support and to different any type of help to support our business here in Europe. We will be grateful for investigations, for providing us with good contacts of partnerships, of customers, of any distributors as well. We sell our products to all channels of sales, from huge distributors to the final customer. So the target audience, of course, for us are huge car washes, distributors, builders of car washes, networkers as well, and different logistic companies and so on. Everything what is connected with automobile thematics. So I hope we will get something useful for us, and we will develop Ukrainian economy here in Europe with your support together. Thank you for your attention. I will be short today. We have no a lot of time, so thank you for your attention.
Thanks a lot for your presentation. I think in the second round we will also come with 1-2 questions. how you're producing under the current circumstances, and what you would like to achieve also in the European market. A colleague who has achieved already, I would say, really a quite huge visible success is Victor, because Victor is doing two things with the partners. He's producing Ukrainian food in Germany. And not only that, you know, when I worked in Ukraine 5 years ago, when I started, we were always dreaming about having Ukrainian restaurants more. And they, with their partnership, even have a franchise system. But Victor, it's on you to tell us a little bit what you're doing. Please share with the audience your experience. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I want to say that it is a big pleasure for me to present my company today, to be a part of this wonderful event. This room is still full of people and full of heads and also hands that want to help, have a goal, and you are doing a great job. I want to thank you. It's a pleasure for me to have the possibility to be a part of it. My name is Viktor Zalewski, but you can call me Elena today. Who is Elena? Elena is my mother that who came in '92 with my father from Ukraine, but they didn't come alone. They came with 3 small children, with my grandmother, and it was a different situation. But they also had some difficult to start the new life in the new home country. But after 25 years, I'm very proud that we established a family business that still produces in real handcrafted, real handmade products in traditional way from the best ingredients you can choose to do delicious dumplings, loved and well-known products like pelmeni or vareniki. You had the chance to taste them today, and yeah, today we just wanted to join. Thank you for the invitation. We had the chance to suggest you something to taste. I hope you enjoyed it. We are here with our partner Gastrooma. It's a startup. They started 2 years ago. People that came from Ukraine just are so powerful and just did it, and it seems to be a great idea that is totally in. It's like a trend. So we are very happy to be here today. And Andre asked at the beginning. He asked, "What is the call for action?" My call for an action is use the chance to taste the wonderful products from Ukraine, the delicious food, spread it to the world, and yeah, let's do a good job together. In the past years, we hired over 20 persons coming from Ukraine and help us together to spread the products into the world, to Germany, to Belgium, so we can all make something good together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. Just one more question. You mentioned Gastrooma. Can you just add a little bit? What is Gastrooma? Not everybody knows it.
Gastrooma is a pretty new concept. It's a local stores. It's a franchise system where you can come in. You can see how persons doing products like vareniki or pelmeni, blinchiki, holubci, you know them, and you can see how they do it by hand. You can buy it frozen or you can buy it fresh, and these are delicious food. So this is something new that you can really look behind the scene.
Thank you very much. So please check out the website. And this is really the first franchise system in the HoReCa business that I've seen from Ukraine. We hope you expand. And I think it's very nice when the people come into the restaurants, they always have the same quality. It's like, I don't want to mention the big M, you know, but it's a franchise. So they have the same quality. They know what they can buy in the cities. And even it's fresh prepared. And I think this has a huge potential. The food market, and let's not underestimate, you know, 45% of the exports from Ukraine come from the food and agriculture sector. This has now a very good chance to expand also in the European market. I would just like to add that some retailers already speak saying the East is the new South. You know, they understand more and more that you can grow and procure a lot of things from Ukraine directly also. That is, of course, what some countries are afraid of. You know, a lot of Ukrainian export was done via the Czech, via the Polish intermediates, via the Baltics. But one potential is really direct B2B, and I think you're doing a great job producing the food, having the shops. So you are on two lines or ends of the production line. And I think we will hear more from you. So thank you that you came. And you saw the food is great. I mean, they provided it today, so one more time, thank you very much. Another country that is very close to Ukraine and has done a lot, we heard it today from Andreas, 150,000 refugees within 1 or 2 weeks, yeah, in the first days of the war. This is Moldova, and Andrei and I know each other for 2 years approximately. And you are on two things, you're in international consultancy, but also in trade. So please, Andrei, tell us from your perspective, how did you see the outbreak of the war in Moldova, and what is the current situation in your connection from the country to Ukraine? What can you do in Moldova? What could you support? But what are also maybe chances for cooperation? That'd be great.
Thank you, Andrei. Thank you all. I'm very glad to be here with you. My name is Andrei Krigan. I represent here the Bilateral Chamber of Commerce, Republic of Moldova, Romania. I'm also have my own consulting business, international consultancy in trade development. My colleagues from the investment agency from Moldova asked me to share a short video about Moldova involvement in helping Ukrainian refugees in the beginning of the war. If you can, we can have it on the screen. I sent the link earlier. Just the statistics that were mentioned about how many refugees have passed through Moldova or stay in Moldova right now, so that we can build a little bit of my talking points on that. The video is very short. It's I think it's around 2 minutes, and then I'll comment on it. The main idea is that from the beginning of the war in the first months, Moldova was crossed from the south, west, and south of Ukraine by 500,000 refugees. Big number or small number? Think about it in this way. Moldova is just 2.5 million population. This is 20% of the population. It's a huge pressure, huge... Let's see the video. Thank you. So, thank you so much. So, Moldova, we use this, the government used this video to raise awareness on the problems that Moldova has faced when the war started. So basically 500,000 refugees entered Moldova in the first 3-4 months. But the thing is that 9 out of 10 Ukrainians were hosted by Moldovans in their houses. Actually, I myself am hosting now already for 2 years a family that is from Odessa. They have 2 kids. They are traveling between Odessa and Chisinau for the last 2 years because they have special medical needs also with their kids, so they have to treat them in Odessa. The main thing is that Moldova is one of the poorest countries in Europe at the moment by the GDP per capita. And the pressure on the country was that big that all the resources, all the people were involved. This is how we faced the war together with Ukraine. Yesterday in Chisinau, there was a visit of the head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, that announced the help for Moldova, but also I know that a lot of financial support is planned for Ukraine. 1.8 billion euros will be offered to Moldova in the next 3 years to invest in hospitals, in new hospitals across the country, in critical infrastructure, in road that is connecting Ukraine, Odessa mainly, to Chisinau and Iași in Romania. Railroad infrastructure, because the railroad infrastructure was also used in the first year and in the coming period by Ukrainian exporters. First is to export the grains, because the Odessa port was bombed and closed. And then also the road infrastructure was heavily used by the trucks to export the goods. But also Moldova helped Ukraine to get the necessary fuel. Moldova has become, in the last 2 years, a big exporter of fuel to Ukraine, which we never were. We're not producing. We don't have oil, but we were very interested to help Ukraine. So basically, this is on the country level. Still, for now in Moldova, there are, by some statistical assessments, around 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Some of them are living permanently in Moldova. Some of them are temporarily living because they still want to go home. They are traveling between the cities while this is possible. I think now, of course, during the summer, it was easier for them due to the warm period, but now in the cold period they will most probably try to find shelter in Moldova in case the situation with the critical infrastructure will go wrong. I'm also representing a company. It's called Gateway Partners. It's a member of the Chamber, a company that is specialized in export development, and our headquarters are in the Baltic states, in Latvia. This is where the business started in 2004. It's already 20 years old. In Moldova, we have started a business in 2017. In 2018 in Romania, we're also present in Bulgaria, Georgia in the region, Albania, Kosovo, and Croatia. In Ukraine, I was actually training our potential colleagues that would take the franchise. It was exactly in January, before the war started, and we were on our way to open an office in Ukraine. We had projects in Ukraine with the Investment Agency of Ukraine, helping IT companies to go abroad, to the Baltic states, to Scandinavia, to Europe. We helped also food producers of Ukraine to find new clients in Europe and also in Scandinavia and in the Baltics. Actually, one of our recent projects this spring, we have worked with some Ukrainian companies. We have organized a visit for them in Croatia to the last opened office in Europe, to see how things are done in Croatia in the business development and the tourist sector. But also Croatia was interesting because it's a former Yugoslavic country. They passed through a war. They still have zones in the mountains that are mined. They have interesting demining solutions. There were companies that were interested in rehabilitation of injured people. Also, we saw the presentations earlier about the prosthetics. And of course, foodstuff producers that were eager to find new clients. This is what we do on the corporate level. Today, I am here thanks to Andrei Piling and the colleagues from the European Ukrainian Bridge, because we have agreed to sign a memorandum of understanding today here to represent the European Ukraine Bridge in Moldova and Romania through the Chamber and help with everything we can. Logistics, trade, any kind of support, refugees, helping people, just like we did from the beginning of the war. Why? Because I myself am a child of the war. Moldova has started its war for integrity and sovereignty in 1992. At that time I was in the 2nd grade and my family was forced to move from the left bank of Dniester River, from the Transnistrian region, to the right bank, For half a year, I lived with my sister in an orphanage, waiting for our parents to find a new home for us, running from the war. I know what this means, I know how hard it is, and I will do everything I can, and the members of the chamber, I have all my relationships, all my network at your disposal to help Ukraine and to help our colleagues from the European Ukrainian Bridge to help Ukraine. So thank you. Thank you to Ukrainians for fighting for all of us. And I hope we stand together, and sooner or later this war will end and we'll have to rebuild our houses, rebuild our economies, and Moldova will be here with you, because Ukraine is between Moldova and Russia, but we still have this Transnistrian region, which is a risk region, both for Ukraine but also for Moldova. Moldova will have its election, presidential election this year already on the 20th of October, but also, very important, a European referendum. Moldova has the same status of a candidate country like Ukraine, but the Russians are doing everything to turn down this vector. They are pushing money here. On a daily basis, we hear news that they are trying to corrupt people, they are trying to send people because people are poor. Not all of the people are very well educated, so they fell in this trap. And we are fighting also this hybrid war, not that hard as Ukraine does, but still we're trying to do our best to be a safe zone so that Ukraine can look on its eastern front, not also on the western front. So thank you again to the Ukrainians for fighting this war, and thank you to my friends here, and I'm at your service. Thank you.
Very impressive insights from Moldova, and thanks for your support. Also, thanks for supporting Ukraine. And yeah, Ukraine is defending our freedom, which is also threatened, not only in Moldova, not only Ukraine, but in all Europe and also Georgia. So we understand also what meanings this fight for freedom has, not only for Ukraine, but of course, firsthand, very much. Manfred, last but not least, Manfred Schäffler, a little bit background from our side, from European Ukrainian Bridge. You know, I lived in Kiev 5 years before the war, and I had to leave the country within some hours. You know, my embassy called me, I was a project leader there, and said, you have to go now because the airspace will be closed. So I was evacuated, and if you lived 5 years in the country, you have your apartment there, you have your friends there, you have your furniture, everything, your private life. That was something that I, being a German, never expected. You know, my grandmother told me these stories from the war, but that you have to go was a big change. And of course, when the war started, all my friends and former colleagues called me, you know, and said, Andre, can you help? And what else could we do than helping? Yeah, that was just a normal thing to do. So I called my former company, that is a big retailer, and thanks to their openness, they donated 9 trucks of 1 million euro of food that were already on the 2nd of March on the way to Ukraine. And I told that to Manfred. I said, Manfred, something is starting here. And we were also invited by our German Ministry of Food and Agriculture. They had a big meeting with 40 food associations from Germany and then built something called German Food Bridge. And I knew Manfred from my former career in the retailer. And he was a guy that came into my house when I was on the phone, sometimes just not sleeping, or he took the phone and said, okay, come on, I take it, go to shower, whatever. So on the first days, I also had like 7 refugees in my house. He just came and helped, you know. And out of these 9 trucks, in the end, we made in this construct German Food Bridge 600 trucks and 35 million of food, 16,000 pallets, with all the big German, 113 German companies and 60 NGOs. But we had to go further because food is not only one thing Ukraine needs. They needed seeds, they needed clothes, sometimes generators. So we said we had to build European Bridge because then we can help more and also in other fields and food. And Manfred, today I would like to know from your side a little bit, maybe you can share this with our audience. First of all, you can tell how we work with our retailers a little bit. Yeah, if we know the demands, how this is working. And also from your experience, what would be needed? That would be great.
Yeah, thank you. Just some minutes ago, as I sat there in the last row, I didn't know that I would be a speaker here. So I have no video or something, and suddenly I thought I have forgotten every English word I learned in school, but we will manage it. So you think, should I talk about the situation now or of the German food bridge? Now. Yeah, the main thing is to have a network. You have to know people, and you have to be not ashamed to ask. I was at the big annual meeting of the Rewe Group, one of the big 4 retailers in Germany, and I managed to talk to Mr. Suk, the CEO of the Rewe, and in his beginning speech, he talked about the war in the Ukraine, and asked him, first I said a big thank you for what they did, as we were the German food bridge, and then I asked if he still can help. And that led to other trucks, and more than 50,000 people got food and water. So that is the main thing we have to do, keep the public in Germany informed that there still are needs in the Ukraine, in the war zones. People sometimes think the infrastructure is nearly okay, but we all know that in the eastern parts or southern parts that there are many people who have not fresh water or have not enough food. And yeah, we try to continue our work from the German Food Bridge now in a club. Yeah, everybody is invited to be a member of our club. Thank you very much that you join us. And yeah, that is what we have to do. We have to ask people to help us. We have to find companies that help us, because we only work with donations. We have no budget. We have no money to buy food or something. And yeah, we try to keep the good work going.
Thank you, Manfred. By the way, Manfred really jumped in because Mr. Marco Tosen from Italy got ill. He was on the speakers list, but we hope he will soon get better, of course, and he apologized also. So maybe next summit he can join us. Because we are running now a little bit also against the time, nevertheless, we heard today, it is really about the people, you know. Manfred, what you said, we have to keep on going, we have to keep on asking, we have to keep on the creation of awareness for the need of Ukraine, because there's a wrong perception, I mentioned it already, that some stakeholders, some even government organizations think that Ukraine doesn't need certain things. That has to be changed, yeah. And I'm thankful for Andreas also, who really said it, don't treat Ukraine like a coma patient, yeah. That is exactly the right thing. We hear it sometimes from our Ukrainian friends, you know, the Germans, they are too late, too little, too lame. And I, being a German, say, sorry, sometimes, yes, this is true. And that is what we have to overcome, because time is a critical factor in this war for Ukraine. And there are like this American pragmatism sometimes, let's start with something. So we are very happy to work also with the international organizations like GEM. Now we have new networks with BNA NGOs and maybe work together in the transport. I put away the maybe, Andreas. But this is exactly what we want to achieve also with the summit here. New networks, new synergies in the support for Ukraine. And like in the other panels, maybe in the last round, first from the real trade people, what do you wish for the future? Yeah, also this is Ukrainian perspective. And from our institutional partners, your call to action for Ukraine. And that would be like the final statement then for today.
As I said, I would like to give a chance of Ukrainian business to have a perspective in future. Drakenberg company try to, you know that because of the situation in Ukraine, all business are located in the western part, mostly of Ukraine, and Drakenberg company try to expand Ukrainian business. As I said, we pay taxes, we provide job places for people, and we want, we are leaders in Ukraine in sales, and today we want to expand our sales here in Europe with your help.
So we could say openness for Ukraine also to help the economy, to strengthen the economy of the country, give Ukrainian companies a chance, because this also supports the country.
I make it short. I just wish that all the efforts you and we all together are doing, that they will bring peace and stability. So that is my wish.
Well, my call to action is linked to our own lessons. In 1992, Moldova was alone. No partners, no nothing. The war lasted only 4 months. Our police troops have already solved the situation. But guess what? The 14th Army that was based in Tiraspol was given the order that if they seize, the Moldovans win, the war will start. And our president had to sign this agreement that actually was mentioning, and he signed it in Moscow. Didn't sign it with Tiraspol or something like that, I mean, with Transnistria, but with Moscow. So Moscow won. What do we have now? 30 plus years of military presence of Russia in our country. We have still the biggest underground deposits of ammunition, 20,000 tons. The biggest one in Europe is still in this region. It's still a risk issue. And we shouldn't leave Ukraine, and this is more a call to action to everyone. Ukraine needs this partnership. If we leave it alone, it will be like Moldova, it will be like Georgia now, that we have an oligarch regime there, and the people are fighting, but they came back from already 2 conflicts. It should come to the frontiers that it had in 1991. So Russia should not be let to win. And I'm not meaning the military intervention, but all of us helping Ukraine to stand, to help Ukrainian people, like go with this war till the victory of Ukraine and defeat of Russia in Ukraine.
Yeah, my call to action, when I speak for the European Ukrainian Bridge, be a member. So for natural persons, it's only €100 a year, so €8 a month or 30 euro cent a day. And for companies, you can be a sponsor. That would help us to get more donations, to be visible, and to keep the good work going. And my global call to action is have a big heart and a helping hand. Thank you.
Dear all, but before we close, first of all, thank you also for your contribution and for the strong statements. I mentioned it already before. We have a copy from the video. We will publish also a press release after this event with all the statements. But I also spoke to our donor partners and to our NGO partners, especially the demand list. We want to publish that. Nobody can discuss after this event today that Ukraine doesn't need anything, because we will have the concrete fact-based needs and we will publish them. Yeah, so this is something you can all address then. And it doesn't matter if it goes to GEM, to Be an Angel, to European Ukrainian Bridge, to GCS, because in the end it helps the Ukrainian people, right? So let's spread the word after this event. Everybody who's asking you for the coming winter, what is needed, you will have that list. And where it is leading to donations, the most important that we have donations and support. Yeah. But I would really now, and he was a guy in the technical department today, ask the co-organizers to the stage. Please, Leander, come to us. You made this event possible with all the help and preparation. You know, everything. He made the batches, you know, he worked on the program, changed it, you know, in 90 sessions. So thank you for everything you did for this event, really. This is, we know each other just, I think, for 5 months or so, right? Yeah, for 5 months. And Jan, where's Jan? Jan Shapiro, number 3. Or it's 111. Please come to us also. You see, this is the inspirational message we want to give to you, yeah? It is really always about the people, and we have great people here. And I think next year, Jan. Thank you so much. Come on, you did a great job. Jan did all the graphic works, the great organization of the panels. I spoke enough. Maybe some final words also from your side.
Yeah, what can I say after such a long day and all preparations? It was very, very nice that so many people responded to this event, wanted to come to Brussels at the end of the week. I think it really shows that still a lot of people has connection with Ukraine and wants to support Ukraine. And maybe that's also my call to action, that when we go back home, wherever we are going, in whichever country in Europe or back to Ukraine, let not forget the people in Ukraine, because we go home in nice houses, I assume, with electricity, with hot water, we can have enough rest, enough sleep. A lot of other people will go home to Ukraine or live in Ukraine without electricity, without normal water, without normal sleep. So let not forget those people, and it's not about us, it's about helping them and helping each other.
I spoke a lot today, but just confirm, and as a person who will again come back home a week later, always coming back, I am you know inspiring by this fired ISIS of European friends, partners who really not just talking but doing something, and that's why you're pronouncing that, repeating call to action, call to action, call to action. That's very important, yeah, because this not just promotion and to reach as more likes we can. That's about to reach as more results and as more implemented products is more, so that's why. And loudly crowd during all the event, which networked and discussed there. From the one side, it was bad because it was harder to speak here, but also that means that people are interested to produce something, to do something, and that's great. They're not keeping calm and go away from here. They discussed and they worked. So let's continue our partnership here, and looking forward to your potential, to your, let's do something. I really tired a lot. Say thank you, thank you.
Thanks, everybody. The best would be, of course, we would not need such an event. This is what we all hope. But if we have another one, you're all welcome. And one more time, it's about the people. Thank you, UK. Yeah, and wishing you a nice weekend. And Звичайно, Slava Ukraini. And now it's a networking downstairs. Thank you, man. Yeah. Where's Leander? Man.
Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure.
It's welcome.
Лондон.